What's up guys, Manuel here, kicking off a brand new tutorial series for the ALiVE mod for Arma 3. The reason I'm making these tutorials is because I feel like the current tutorials that are out there on YouTube, they're either incomplete or outdated, so I thought it'd just be a good idea to start making some videos on how to use this mod, because in my own opinion, it's probably one of the best mods you can get on Arma. It adds a lot of environment to the game and some actual substance. And it's really good for missions. I use it pretty much in all my missions. So I'm going to try and start off with the basics and then move on to some more advanced stuff. And then like go into mission types. I'm going to make everything I make available in the description below. For anybody who's struggling to understand what I'm trying to do, you can download it and get an hands-on feel for the mod. I just want to say before we get into it, I run my own missions on Fridays and Saturdays every week. I make these missions by myself. I've got a few friends who play with me. I also stream these. My Twitch stream is here, and if you want to get in on the action, the Discord is here. I'll also make these available both in the description. So with that being said, let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is place down two modules what are required for ALiVE to actually work. So you're going to go into systems, you're going to go to ALiVE modules, you're going to place down ALiVE required, and you're also going to place down ALiVE virtual AI system. We're just going to go through these. ALiVE required first. We're going to ignore all this. I like to turn the garbage collector interval down, so it's the interval in which to clean killed objects, and that's a limiter if it gets met before the time is reached. So I like to turn this down to like 180, turn this down a bit to like 60 items. This is just to reduce impact on server performance, so turn that down a little bit. Going to the ALiVE virtual AI system now. Okay, so again, we're going to turn debug on for this one. Persistence, leave, synchronization options, leave. Right, so the spawn radius is the distance you need to be from an objective for units to spawn. The way ALiVE works is that all units are virtualized in the virtualized space. So when you get into a certain distance of that objective, the units will start to spawn in. So I think normally I turn this down to like 1,000. I don't think it needs to be up at 1,500. But for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm just going to turn it up to 2,000 because I'm having an issue with the Zeus at the moment. So I normally put this down at 1,000, but again I'll just reiterate, putting it up at 2,000 just so I can showcase you some stuff. Okay, spawn plane radius 0, active limiter. I'll leave this alone, and I'll leave all this alone. So the next thing you're going to want to do is go into markers. Now you're going to have to define what is called the tactical area of responsibility. This is just an area in which is defined for each commander. For the purpose of this tutorial, we're going to do an occupation force and an invasion force. So we're going to define an area in which our occupation force will control and an area which our invasion force will control. Within this area, all the objectives will be defined, such as towns, military locations, as well as like little small places such as this church, these windmills and whatnot. So I'm going to go back into markers, grab a rectangle. I'm just going to split this up into two. So there we go, that's one. I'm going to go into this, turn it into a border. I'm going to name this TAOR1 just for ease. We'll also get another rectangle and we'll place this down and name this TAOR2. Oh, I forgot to make it a border. Right, so then you're going to want to go back into systems, find the military AI commander. Now this is quite important where you place this unit down, because it actually defines it as the base or a high priority target, as well as you want to place this down and this, as well as also military logistics. Once you place these down, right click them, sync. You want to sync them all to the military AI commander, like so. Oh, missed that one. Like so. Right, so I'm going to go through these one by one. Military AI commander, leave all this alone. Control type, we're going to make this the occupation force. We're not using asymmetric, I'll cover that in another tutorial. Reinforcements, so reinforcements, you've got constant, packets and seldom, and it defines it in there. So constant, it requests reinforcements at 90%, and then packets is 75, and then 50% for seldom. Because this is the occupation force, I'm just going to make it constant. Intel, non, faction, NATO, override factions, so you want to put in blue underscore F here. Right, so we'll go to the military objective. Now we do, as before, we defined an area for the responsibility of the AI commander, so we want to put in TAOR1 in here. Objective size filter, do not filter. Objective priority filter, do not filter. Force, place units, obviously. Force size. Now I'm going to turn this up because it's quite a big map, so the units are going to be more spread out, so if we turn it up they're going to be a bit more together. Force weighting, random camps, I like to turn this on. It basically places down like random ammo depots and repair stations and like barricades and barricaded buildings and stuff like that in random areas around the map. Readiness 100%, so you can actually override the different types of forces. So I normally in my missions just override the armor, but for this purpose, this tutorial, I'm just going to leave it blank. Create HQ, create field HQ, no. Place supplies, yes, and some medium ambient vehicles. So when we create HQ, the AI commander will actually, wherever this is placed, it'll define it as the base. So that'll be made a high priority objective to defend, say. It also is the place where all your military logistics comes out of for reinforcements. So it's quite important where you place that. Right, so then we're going to go to a military placement civilian objective. It's quite similar to the military objective placement marker. We need to place define the area again. So TAOR1, objective type filter all. If you wanted to, you could actually just say man just the harbours and stuff, so that you just have people here and maybe up here in Pyrogros. Is that how you say it? I don't know. So, but for this, we're just going to leave on all. Ignore small objectives. Do not filter. Place units company. I'm going to actually turn this up to a battalion size force. Random, readiness 100%, roadblocks, because it's the occupation force, I'm just going to make this high. Sea patrols none. Again, you can override, but we're not going to do for this mission. And then we need to type in blue underscore F in here again. Right, so just to touch on that, force size is the number of units to be placed. So 800 units will be placed inside this map in virtualized space. This is why this mod's so good, because it places all the units for you, and then when you're getting within the certain distance of those units, they start spawning, and it's really well done, like for missions and stuff. So you don't have to place units down. It's not impacting the server performance of the server heavily, as many of you know. Armor's quite a performance-heavy game, so it's really good. Finally, we're going to go into military logistics. Again, consistency and debug, we're going to just keep on no. We want to keep on dynamic. So you can change the resource pool. I'm not sure what dynamic does, but so this is the amount of units that commander can call upon to reinforce positions outside of the 800 and the 400 we've already defined. So I'm actually just going to turn this up a little bit. Air transport transport assets. I'll put this on faction only because we don't want random helicopters coming in from other factions deploying units what they shouldn't for the NATO force. So that's the occupation force. We're going to now do the invasion force, which is going to be CSAT. So I'm going to use this base for example. We're going to place that there, and it doesn't really matter what we do with these. Okay, so we'll start off at the military high commander, just run through this again real quickly. We'll change this to an invasion type. So the difference between invasion and occupation, just in case if you didn't know, occupation, they take more a methodical approach to taking control of areas, so they'll move up bit by bit rather than just like shock and awe. Whereas invasion is like what I've just said then, shock and awe, like they're an invading force. So we're going to leave this alone. In fact, we're going to just change this to CSAT, and then we're going to change this to op, in caps, op_f. Because this is an invasion force, I changed this to packets because like the forces are coming off of ships, say, or whatever, so you're not going to have them constant reinforcements there. So that's that one done. We're going to go into the military replacement objective now. We need to change the AOR marker because it's a different area and we don't want these units spawning inside the other area we've defined. I'll just have to go back to that other one because I think that's still an op-f. Just leave this all as it were before. I've just copy and pasted it, so it's pretty straightforward. Let me just go back there just in case I forget. I think it's here, isn't it? Yeah. So this wants to be blue _f. Sorry about that, guys. I'll just double check in each one of these so it's right. Yep. Sweet. Op4f, yep, nice. TAR2, we're happy there. Right, civilian objective, TAR2 again. Random, I'm going to turn off roadblocks because it's an invasion force. They're not apologies. Not really going to be setting up roadblocks and stuff, so we're going to turn that off. Okay, and we need to change this to op_f here. Military logistics, keep that all same as what we did last time. Now, to get these two factions to attack each other, we need to sync up the AI commander to the military placement objectives. So that then will define the military objectives controlled by the opposition to be objectives to take. So we'll just sync these up. So sync the AI commander to the military objectives and civilian objectives. There. Right, so I'll just make sure TAR1, TAR2. Right, next thing we're going to want to do, just to make sure it's working, we're going to place down a man, just in a random place. Put him here. And then go back into systems, go to Zeus, Game Master. Hashtag admin locked. Oops. Even though we're not using anything other than ALiVE, I'm just going to put this on just in case, all add-ons including unofficial ones. Pretty important that you do that sometimes. I forget many times and you can't actually spawn units in from other factions when using Zeus. So we'll play scenario now. It takes a bit to load up because it's a bit of an intense mod for armor, so usually it just takes a longer than usual to load up. Anytime now. Right, we're in. So the reason I asked you to turn on debug for the AI placement module is because now we can see where all the AI have been placed on the map. So each one of these markers, when it's unhighlighted, they're actually in virtual space. So we can actually see where all the units are here. I mean, some have already spawned to us, so they've actually been highlighted. If we jump into Zeus, now this is the issue I've been having with Zeus. Usually when you move Zeus, it acts as a player, so it spawns more units in, but for some reason it hasn't been doing it. See, these are these camps that I was talking about. They just spawn these randomly around the map. They're quite cool. If you're just using Zeus, you can actually just find these and then like set them up as objectives for your players to attack if you're doing like a Zeus mission instead of just a normal one. So as you can see, these units are being placed in. The minute they're just doing patrols and stuff like that, so not really doing much. Is that a helicopter? Damn. Oh, it's 2 helicopters. I've actually never seen that before. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, so normally when I used to move this around, it'd spawn more units in, but for some reason it's not. So I've just had to use areas just to move my guy around. So if I go here, teleport, there we go. See if I jump this guy here now. Alright, these units should start spawning now. Yeah. Well, we've actually got some units here. Oh, I didn't mean to do that then, sorry. So we've already seen they're attacking. Sometimes on the border, units can actually cross into different objects. See, this is half and half at the minute, so we're actually going to see quite a big fight break out. I don't know why it does this, because I did leave a bit of a gap between, but it doesn't really matter. It adds to the ambience, I guess. Should be a fight breaking down anytime soon. So yeah, that's the basics on how to set up ALiVE. In the next tutorial, I'm going to cover some more advanced stuff. So make sure you subscribe and like, and wait for the next video. Again, if you're interested in coming to any of my operations, the Discord link's in the description. Just join Discord. Just give one of the admins or myself a PM, and we'll get you on your way. Okay, guys, thanks for watching. Man, I'm out.